Cowboys free agency vent session coming up here as the Cowboys have done nothing today on day 3 of free agency, only watching players go off the board. If you're feeling upset about the way the offseason has gone for the Cowboys, which is certainly pretty darn fair, type CAP, C-A-P, in the comments section right now. Tom Downey here for the Cowboys Report. This isn't fun today. A lot going on around the NFL. The Cowboys have done diddly. Let's break down the big news. A player the Cowboys were doing their due diligence on. They had mutual interest in. Von Miller off the board. He's going to the Buffalo Bills instead of, coming home to Dallas, etc., whatnot. The deal initially announced as a 6-year, $120 million contract. Whew, a lot of money. Not so fast. It averages $17.5 million over the first 2 years. He's got $52 million guaranteed in total. That was all that was guaranteed. You can do the math on that from a guaranteed perspective, and it's actually not that bad. That's $17.33 million over the first 3 years of when I assumed the guarantees would be there. This is just the Chandler Jones deal. That's really all this is for the Buffalo Bills. Yeah, there's big money tacked on to the end with options, but it's not really a 6-year 120 if you don't want it to be. So it's not as splashy as the initial numbers say. Now, regardless of if you want to use the $6 million 120 or the 352 number, Dallas would never. There were reports of mutual interest between Von Miller and the Dallas Cowboys, but Von wants to get paid, and I understand that. The Cowboys would never pay that money to Von Miller. That's not how they operate in free agency. They refuse to do that type of deal. And now here's your real true issue. After you missed on Za'Darius Smith, more on him coming up. You were never in the market for Chandler Jones. They plenty had interest in Smith. We'll get to that later on. The edge rushing market, it's not good. You got Melvin Ingram, Justin Houston, who are aging vets they're not what they were in their prime. Jerry Hughes, Derek Barnett hasn't actually been that great in Philadelphia in recent years. I think guy fell off a cliff is Jason Pierre-Paul, Dante Fowler. Like, you're going to go bargain shopping at edge, and the draft, it might fall, that position in particular, might not go the way you want. So the Cowboys had allowed the leaks to happen that, there was some interest in Von Miller. Can't get your hopes up anymore. Just can't do it. It never goes down the way that we all want it to go down. The Cowboys just continue to not show interest in the end. So you missed on Von Miller. He signs a big-time deal with the Buffalo Bills. 6-year, $120 million deal for Von Miller. Really more of a 3-year deal with team options more or less after that. The Cowboys could have done that. I want to make that clear. They could have done it if they wanted to. They're not going to. You could have gone a different deal with Von Miller and, hell, fully guaranteed his first 3 years if you wanted to. They were never going to. That's too much money for their self-imposed issues, even though they got like $30 million in cap space right now. Good thing Tank took a pay cut, which is what he did in the end, to stick around for Dallas to not have any other edges here. So be honest with me again. This is the safe space to have your vent session. What's your confidence level right now in the Dallas Cowboys? Scale it 0 to 100. I'll make this the pinned comments on today's video, so if the ad break comes on YouTube, take advantage of it. 0 to 100. How confident are you guys feeling? Everyone's down bad, and I understand so. Honestly, the one that might bother me more is this Za'Darius Smith signing. Initially reported 4 years, $50. Also not really. 4 years, $35 million. That's less than $10 million per year, less than you were going to pay Randy Gregory for a player who in 2020 had more sacks than any 2 years of Randy Gregory combined. Why weren't you in on that deal? Why? The Cowboys had interest. Were doing their due diligence. Blah, blah, blah. Edge is a massive problem for this team right now. You could play Micah Parsons more there. I'm totally down. I'm not sure the Cowboys feel the exact same way because you wanted to bring back Randy Gregory. You're going to roll with Terrell Basham, Dorrance Armstrong, Chauncey Golston as your edge 2 and 3. plus, of course, Micah Parsons being that superstar flex player, that's not good enough. It's not. Like, we know it's not good enough. Even if you make Micah more of a full-time pass rusher, okay, linebacker is still a huge area of need. We'll talk about that here more in a little bit. The Cowboys, for the Dallas Morning News, had interest in Za'Darius Smith. They were doing due diligence, and they had talks and discussions and conversations, and it all means jack shit because they haven't done anything in free agency to make this team better. They have gotten worse, and we knew that could be a problem, an outcome going in, and they can make it change. They can make that change at any point here, but they don't pay outside guys. They refuse to pay big money, and it hasn't worked for 26 years now. Maybe it's you and not the rest of the NFL who doesn't want to do things in the end. And I get it. Like, you don't want to pay Von Miller big money. Okay. You got to do something, though. Like, you can't just watch everybody else spend money and say, oh, we are the right ones doing it correctly in our organization. Like, come on. The Cowboys will do something. It'll be a bargain bin signing in the end. If you want updates on that, hit that big red button and subscribe. That way you don't miss out on anything going on around the Dallas Cowboys. I can't wait till they pay Dorrance Armstrong big money because they like their guys. He's fine. Not an edge, too. He has never been that in his NFL career. All right, other moves here the Cowboys missed out on. Miles Jack, who many of you guys wanted. 2-year, $16 million deal with the Pittsburgh Steelers. Probably a bit more than what the Cowboys would have liked to have done. The Steelers, they showed the urgency. They showed the interest. The Cowboys dragged their feet over and over again. So the hopes of adding a big-time player in the front seven at this point, it's down to Bobby Wagner. That's it. That's your splash signing if they're going to go do something. I don't know if the Cowboys are going to. There's mutual interest. There's conversations, due diligence, whatever. I think I speak for many of us, we've learned our lesson. We can hope it happens, but we can't get our hopes up too high because that's just not what they do. I disagree with it, but it's not how this team operates. I would be pleasantly shocked if the Cowboys went out and got Bobby Wagner. Saw plenty of questions on this in comments and DMs, so I wanted to hit it. Julio Jones? Remember that one time he was wearing the Cowboys gear before he got traded to Tennessee? I remember. He's working out with other players. It's not going to happen. By the way, quick aside, we'll come back to it here. I wouldn't bank on Julio coming and being an impact player at this point in his NFL career. We'll come back to Julio. But first, today's show, presented by BetUS. Chatsports.com/bet, promo code Cowboys125. That'll get you a 125% deposit bonus. $100 down gets you the deposit bonus here with BetUS. March Madness odds. Hey, Gonzaga now a even heavier favorite, plus 300. I should have grabbed them at plus 500. They were like that like a week ago. That was kind of an error on my part. Kentucky plus 900. Maybe it's Kansas' year plus 1,000. Can bet on basketball. Bet against the Cowboys if you want to. Chatsports.com/bet. Promo code Cowboys125. Back to Julio here. I'll say it. I think he might be washed. His last 2 years, his yards in 19 games, mind you, is worse than any year he had since 2013 when he played in 6 games. And he barely beat out that mark. I don't think Julio is... I know that the name brand is there. It's not what he was anymore. I think the injuries have really begun to add up for him in the end. So Julio, I kind of think might be washed. But I am down to sign a wide receiver to a 1-year deal. I remember Des Bryant mentioned James Washington on Twitter. Sure. Juju, 1-year deal. Sure. Because your receiver room is not enough right now. Noah Brown is your 5 or 6. I don't want him as my 3 or my 4, which is what he is right now. We have no idea what Simi Fehoko is going to be in the NFL. He didn't play at all this past year. You can't bank on him. I want to bring back Malik Turner. Let Turner Brown battle for one of those last spots there. It is what it is. Vasher's a totally unproven guy. You got 2 guys you trust right now under contract on your roster. They got to figure that out sooner than later. So I want you to name a player you guys want to sign. Maybe it's just cut Trey Flowers. Maybe it's Derek Barnett. Maybe it's one of those edges out there because that area is a huge concern. Jaron Kearse, also the right answer. Drop a name but keep it realistic. The Cowboys aren't going to spend more than $5 or $6 million, I don't think. Let me drop a name for me in the comments who you guys want to sign. Talk La'el Collins trade, then I'll get the rest of my feelings out of my chest here. Collins has been linked to the Patriots now by Patrick Walker, voice of the star, no C. The vibe I get is that is more of if he gets cut than it is for a trade. The Patriots, for some unknown reason, shipped out their best offensive lineman in Shaq Mason. Producer Jack down bad there. The Cowboys can now officially make La'el Collins a post-June 1st cut at any point. It would save them $10 million right now. What would they do with that $10 million? I don't know, but Catboy loves it. The trade market, I don't think is good for La'el Collins because guess what? NFL teams know he was out of shape in 2020 and got suspended in 2021, and they know the Cowboys are done. They will try to wait him out. And we saw Morgan Moses, who's coming off an awesome year, a better year than Collins, go for $5 million a year. That's not good for La'el. So be honest with me. Drop a number in the comment section. What is the % chance that you think the Dallas Cowboys end up trading away La'el Collins? Make your predictions and your percentages known in the comments. The O-line right now for Dallas, again, you've only gotten worse. There is not a position on this team that the Cowboys have improved so far in free agency. Connor McGovern is here left guard. He was not good there last year. Connor Williams was much better at that position. Terrence Steele is now your right tackle. We'll call that a lateral move, but it's not great for the Cowboys. Draft pick in round 1? Sure. Patriots, meanwhile, if you lose Trent Brown, right tackle then becomes a big-time need for that organization. Maybe they could go about that route, but it's been not great in terms of the Cowboys' ability to win trades or make good trades. Because let's not forget, if we're being honest here, we can blame a bunch of different parties, even for the Randy Gregory stuff, as the agent and the ownership go back and forth on the blame and whose fault it is, whatever. I got no faith in Stephen Jones. How can we? We got Tank Lawrence out there in HD for everyone to see saying, yeah, Stephen Jones offered me 1 year, $10 million, and I asked to get released because how did they? Because that's a bullshit offer. The Cowboys do this every single time. They suck at negotiating. Now, maybe it's amplified because that's our team and the Cowboys, etc., but I don't know if other teams handle contracts like this where the next man in line, your future owner, comes in and lowballs every contract they ever do. Lowball Tank Lawrence, 1 year, 10. Okay. You lowballed Dak Prescott for years. You lowballed Tank Lawrence originally. You lowballed Michael Gallup by a good $5 million. They suck at negotiating contracts. Now, again, maybe it's amplified because it's the Cowboys. I get all that. But the end result, even if we blame Randy or his agent, which, okay, cool, whatever, for that whole situation, and why we're putting in, voiding guarantee language for fines when the other teams in NFL clearly aren't doing that, I'll never know. It's weed. Who the hell cares? Get over it. They are the team. The Cowboys are now down an edge rusher. And the market is not good. It's a rough market. And now if you want to have impact player, you got to go overpay them. Because for some unknown reason, the Cowboys cannot get this through their head. Once you hit free agency, you are still investing against other teams. You're in a competition. Your philosophy is, we like our guys, we're not going to overpay in free agency. Well, you're in free agency. You're in the bidding war. The Cowboys are so committed to not losing the deal early that they end up losing the deal late over and over and over again. And the Cowboys are not getting better. They have not gotten better at any one position via moves. At some point, they got to do something. But I'm actually now very worried about edge rusher because they don't have anything at that position. You've got DeMarcus Lawrence and a bunch of unprovenness and Micah Parsons, who I love and adore. He's been incredible for Dallas, but I think Dan Quinn wants to use him as a chess piece player. That means you need an edge too. And you had one in Randy Gregory, and then you fumbled the bag. His fault, your fault, whatever. He's gone. It is totally fine to be worried right now if you're a Dallas Cowboys fan. Because they got all this money. They got $30 million in cap space right now. And they have done nothing with it. They've only cleared money. so far. They brought back Luker. They re-signed Gallup and Lawrence. Cool. I know we ain't down bad about losing Connor Williams. This team, if they're not going to spend in free agency, they're not going to get better. So I don't know what to do. I hope things change soon, but if we're worried about the Cowboys, I get it, because I am.